Hello, Renee Flamont here. And Minnie, look at her looking. Hi, baby doll. You guys, I think we have to get into red flags. I hear people still falling for things that should be known as red flags, and I'm going to list some specifics for you today so you can have your ears open. Because I think that people go through and we women, I guess men too, but women, like if you don't hear, maybe you've learned a little bit. And if you don't hear I love you or marry me by the salad, you think I'm safe, he's not love bombing me. No. The love bombing language, the red flags can come in all different kinds of, and the red flags don't just have to be in the form of love bombing. They can be about their character. They can be about something you see them do, something you hear them say on the phone to somebody else. Red flags come in all forms, not just love bombing, okay? But being that if we never succumbed to their love bombing, we'd never have to go through the process of being stripped down to nothing and then rebuilding ourselves, I'm sure I'll refer to love bombing red flags today. I don't want you to miss them, ignore them, excuse them, or misinterpret them, meaning red flags. I don't want you to. I want you to hear them. I want you to look at them. And I want you to, if you really think you're already in deep like and you hear something ask them. I wish I did. There's quite a few that you can see from minute one. And I'm just going to start with, I'll share with you my experience and what I thought was a good idea. Okay, red flags, ready? You meet a 63-year-old doctor. This is several years ago. But I look back and I think that guy was a narcissist too, now that I've learned about this. But I thought this was a good idea. 63 years old, doctor. That's pertinent in a second. No friends. Now you might say, what do you mean, no friend? No, we got together with a lot of people. All people he's known within the 3 years of living in Orlando. What about undergraduate? No friends? Medical school? No friends? 30-something years of being a doctor all around the country. You didn't collect anybody? There's no friends? You have 2 brothers you're not close to? A mother you hardly talk to? And a father that you told me you didn't talk to the last 20 years of his life. Until his death, and you didn't even reconcile. The best friend I was introduced to, that he said, he talked like a 12-year-old. This is my best friend, like my best friend. Like I'm his best friend, I'm his number one, he's my number one. This is my best friend. He's known the guy and his girlfriend, he had a girlfriend, for 3 years. To me, now, I look at that and think, this guy's isolated himself from everybody. He's burnt every bridge he's ever made. He wasn't genuine enough for people to attach themselves to. I think people catch on when there's a narcissist afoot or a toxic person, and they remove themselves. So this guy went through, think of all the different phases in your life. You show up at 63 years old, having had all of this college, internships, residencies. You're going through all, I watch Grey's Anatomy. They go through, they're friends for life. They go through these things together. Nobody. I ignored it. Didn't think anything of it. Ignored it. Same guy. He's renting an apartment. Why? Why? You live here now. You're not, there's reasons for apartments. You pop in and out, you go to a new area, the house is getting ready, whatever. But you're 63 years old? I ignored it. That was a boundary of mine. I've told you that before, a parameter. No, you're 63, you need to be a home-owning 63-year-old. I'm sorry. For me, that's I've set that. And I keep breaking it. Keep breaking it. You talk about setting your parameters. There's reasons, right? You look at this guy's life. He had 0 interest in getting a house, but he wanted to be in the best neighborhood across the street. So he goes and looks at rentals across the street. I said, why don't you just look at buying a house? Oh, but so-and-so said you got to be at the top of this building. Like, I should have taken that as a red flag. This guy's so concerned with his appearance. Talking about, if I appear rich, I'll get better patients. Yeah, he said that right out loud. That doesn't sound anything like anybody I want to be involved in. But I thought, oh, this sounds like a good idea. Let me jump right into this. Am I out of my mind? Think about the history now those are all red flags right off the bat before I even finished the first date. You could find all that out. I don't trust that. 63 years old, 0 friends, and your best one is somebody you've known 3 years? 3 years? Anyway, another one. You're not going anywhere. This comes in the form of love bombing. We're on the first date. This is me now and my last narcissist, the one I refer to a lot. That's how it started. It was, I was leaving several times through the date. There were several different points in the date that it changed, like this place to another. And it turned out to be an hours-long first date, which is a parameter of mine. Don't do that either. But I kept saying, oh, I'm going to go. You're not going anywhere. Several times. Each time he'd come back with a sentence like this, trying to make me think he was so into me within these first few minutes of meeting me that he couldn't bear for me to leave. Are you kidding me, Renee? Am I kidding myself? I thought, oh yeah, No, am I serious? I believed he was speaking off the cuff from feelings. I'm making this video to wake us all up. No! Now I know he has lines. They have lines in their arsenal at the ready. Lines they know have an impact. Get a result of the swooning. They've used them before and practiced them on others, these lines. They've seen the results. And it's happened since, but I handled it differently. Now it's, oh, please. But then I ate it up. I thought we found magic. And stayed on the date I did, allowing for hours more of this type of love bombing. Now I would take all that as red flags, okay? As well as things about the guy, which I'll tell you too. But hours more of all of that, well, by then, you're in. I came from a place of, I wasn't feeling great. I came off this 63-year-old, I'm sorry, Nimrod, who did a 180 and discarded me. There was no back and forth, though. It was just discarded. That was it. But I realized all we can control in that little situation is how we react. The narcissist is going to behave this way with all these red flags and say these things when they're trying for new supply. Right now we're talking about love bombing red flags. They're laying it on thick on purpose. Love bombing, it starts right away. Right away. They're counting on our reaction to them as falling for it, believing them, swooning. Once they see you are, their floodgates open. Oh yeah, this is another one I got that night. I think my dad is watching over us from heaven. He sent you to me because he knows what I need and that you're perfect for me. And it went on and on and on. First night. And he caught his watch on the bar. It was his dad's watch. Not anything fancy, but it had some diamonds on it. But it was a delicate old one. You know what I mean? A bracelet kind of old watch. Old. But it snapped. And he's like, oh, that's a sign. My father's telling me if I let you go, I'm crazy. If that's not a sign. I'm eating it up. I'm eating it up. First night. Now, recently, I'm starting to recognize these love bomb red flags. Recently, this had happened to me. A few months ago, maybe. And the guy right away, I'm interested. I think I mentioned this guy before. I'm interested. Hey, you want to go on a cruise? I wasn't falling for a thing. I was friendly but poised and sure of myself, and certainly open about the fact that I'm not on the same page with you. I take way more time than you're talking about. Absolutely not going on a cruise. If you're interested and we become friends and it grows from there, okay, went through the whole thing, right? If I had fallen for that 63-year-old several years ago, one of his tools was a cruise. Oh yeah, I'll go. I thought that was a good idea. This cat, I'm on to him. Guess what? Haven't heard from him since. To me, now, what he said, which I knew, red flags. All I can control is how I reacted. And I said, oh, no, 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 no. And it's vital to keep yourselves from harm. And if the guy was really genuine, then he wouldn't have disappeared with the slightest challenge, which, no, thank you, I don't want to go on a cruise, I'm just getting to know you, is not even a challenge in my opinion. But the 63-year-old several years ago asked me to go on a cruise, and I was like, sure. Asked me to go somewhere else. Sure. Asked me to go. Absolutely. I was exhausted. I was filling up 6 nights a week with that cat right off the bat. Turns out I did the same thing with this last one. Red flags everywhere. Everywhere. This one didn't talk to his sister. This one didn't really have a lot of best friends from all of his life either. This one doesn't have anybody consistent that he relies on. This one was a nomad living all over the place. That's a red flag. If it's against your parameters, definitely it's a red flag. To me, it's not about money. I won't date someone who rents, because I obviously will. I keep breaking it many, many times. But to me, the reason it's a parameter is because I want to date a grown man with his path together. I'm from a long line of very hardworking people, all homeowners, proud homeowners. Going back to my grandparents from Quebec and my grandparents from Italy on my mother's side. Homeowners. Proud, hardworking, homeowning people. I think it shows ambition. I think it shows permanence. I think it shows responsibility. I think it shows a million things. Has nothing to do with money. But if you are a nomad, you don't even have a lease in your name. They're bouncing around on people's couches. Oh my God, everybody wake up. That means they can't even commit to a location. You think they're going to commit to you? They haven't made any kind of moves in their life to have any permanent residence anywhere. That is a red flag for a grown person. Now, they've suffered misfortune. There are extenuating circumstances, and we'll allow for those. But even people I've known that are homeowners consistently, maybe they've had a 3-month blip, a 6-month blip, because they had extenuating circumstances, their pride, ambition, and gets them back on track to being a homeowner. A perpetual nomad, couch to couch to couch? No. He's living like a frat life. That one was 63 too. Living a frat life? No. Drinking problems, substance problems. These are all red flags, and we ignore them. And there's a million more. You see that they're rude to someone in the restaurant. You see they're over flirtatious with someone in the restaurant. You see with the waitress, or waiter, but like they're disrespecting. To me, I think that's disrespectful of the server's space. I don't know what they like to be called. I think it's server now, wait person. But that's disrespecting their space. They're trying to do a job. And you're trying to call them sweetheart or, hey, honey, or blah, blah. Leave them alone. Be respectful, right? Do they talk over you? Do they listen to you? Do they ask about you? I sat through 3 hours of a guy talking about himself to the nth degree detail. You know, like when you're getting to know somebody and they ask you about something, you might have like a 30-second commercial answer, right? Where'd you go to college? Where'd you family grow up? This guy deviated 3 hours into like every single, like no 30-second commercial. And never once asked me about where I was from, nothing. Nothing. And finally I said, you've been talking about yourself for 3 hours and you don't know anything about me? Oh, well, I just thought I needed details of your operation in Iran in 1987 and the guys' names and the tank you drove. All I said was, how was your time in the military? He went on and on and on. Guys, red flags come in all forms. I just don't want you to think you're safe because you just don't hear marry me or I love you by the salad. They might be a narcissist. They might be toxic. They might have a disorder or a dysfunction. You have to look at the whole picture and set your parameters and don't bend them. I've bent mine every single time I've ever dated anybody, I think. I think if I look back and if I took if I did my dry erase board, which I have, and I looked at them all, I've known some wonderful people. But I think if I went back in and really looked, there were red flags all along the way. And I'm just really here to try to let you know and be awake and catch them. If the person's married, huge red flag. I don't care what they say. Divorce is coming. Papers are coming. No. A lot of narcissists do this. And they'll tell you that. Oh, I'm getting divorced. Yep. That's a red flag too. That's a red flag too. They don't have relationships with their children. Red flag. And remember, they'll always put themselves as the victim or the hero or the martyr. So they're going to have a story to tell you about why they may not have relationships with people that they really should have relationships with, like their children, their siblings, their parents. I think these are bad signs. Not saying they don't have a right. Their parents might have been the narcissistic ones, and that's why they don't have a relationship. Okay, so you ask, and you get that information. You ask, and they don't have a story, or they're blaming. They don't sound healthy. Red flags. We have to stop it in the beginning before you even get involved, before they ensnare you and you're sucked in dying to talk to those people again. Because that's what they'll do. They'll start it right on that first night. So be careful. Watch for these red flags. And please don't ignore them. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. And I will see you next time.